Thanks, Derek. So, every parent wants their kid to be special in some way. I know my mom does because she tells me every single day, I prayed, and I knew you were going to be special in some way. And when I was 21, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which, as a man of that age, put me in like the 0.001 percentile, or roughly 1 in 100,000 people. So we decided that was special enough and I could be done. But apparently her prayers weren't done being answered, because about 18 months ago, I was diagnosed with what's called in the business a malignant PCOMA, which is an incredibly rare type of soft tissue cancer that affects about 1 in 100 million people, 10 million people. And just for perspective, there's like 340 million people in the United States, so it means like any given time there's 34 people who have this specific type of cancer. So once again, super special. And at this point, like, my story is pretty much the same as any other survivor's story that you'll hear. I got diagnosed, I went through treatment, and I'm here on the other side of it to tell you about it. All I had to do was show up, right? I showed up for appointments, I showed up for scans, I showed up for surgery, I showed up for radiation, I showed up and I showed up and I showed up. And on June 3rd of last year, I showed up for my last radiation appointment, and the CT scans confirmed that I was cancer-free. My family, though, my wife, my son, my mom, my dad, they didn't have to show up. They had the harder job, is they had to stay behind. They had to wait, and they had to watch, and they had to worry, and they had to go to work, and they had to go to school, and they had to make dinner, and they had to clean the house, they had to feed the cats. They had to continue living life as though none of this was happening. Around the time I was finishing my treatment, my brother-in-law started training for the Dempsey Challenge. And he sent me a link to join his team. What the hell is this? I said, he said, no, it's the Dempsey Challenge, where we're riding 15 miles. We? I mean, between having this tumor and then having surgery and recovering from that, and then going through radiation treatment and recovering from that, and driving back and forth every single day between Gorham and Boston, I basically hadn't moved in 6 months. And I explained all this to him. And he said, yeah, that's why we're riding. To be clear, he's an Army veteran. He's a fit guy. I'm a software engineer. So I took my bike and I took my helmet, I threw it in the back of my car, and I drove out to meet him for a bike ride, and we rode about 2 miles, and I got off my bike and I immediately threw up. And that was the end of my training. So last September I showed up in Lewiston for the Dempsey Challenge, and I had very low expectations. But I got on my bike and I rode 15 miles. And I found out at the end of it that the 15-mile ride was actually 16.2 miles, which is fine because I had to walk my bike up every single hill anyway. But this year, I have time. I'm not recovering from treatment and surgery, and I have a whole year to train for it, which is good because they're not offering the 15-mile ride this year. I have to bike 25 miles. So on Mother's Day a few weeks ago, I asked my mom, I was like, hey, let's go for a bike ride. I have to train for this anyway. You love to ride bikes. So we were just gonna ride 7 miles, no big deal. And around mile 6, I was coming down a hill, and there was a big frost heave that I just did not see. And I went airborne, and I landed very poorly, and I broke 2 bones in this hand and 1 bone in this hand. And actually the sports medicine person that I'm seeing said that this is the first time in her career that she's seen someone break this particular bone in both hands at the same time. So once again, very special. So I guess the question is, why would I do this? Why, after everything I've been through, would I decide to ride my bike 25 miles and break both of my hands and still continue going through it? And the reason is, after my ride last year, after I was hanging out with everybody, I saw the community that the Dempsey Center builds. I saw the families just like mine who were supporting somebody going through something just like I went through, and I saw the hope and the compassion and just the emotional well-being that they can bring to people who can't find it on their own in that moment. I had an incredible team of doctors who wanted nothing more than to help me get to the other side of this so that I could pay it forward and help other people who are going through it. And I think that is really, really special. Thank you.